So there was a bridge right there. That's gone.
Well, last night, well, really yesterday, it flooded. It was flash flood pretty much all day. It just dumped rain for, I don't know, from like
4.
4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. From 4 to 11 o'clock at night, it was just dumping rain. So it all flooded. And with us being down here, obviously we have the creek. We had never seen what it kind of looks like. It's a runoff creek for sure. And so we just kind of got to see what happened last night. And you can see everywhere that there's sand right now. Everything looks sandy because it is sand. That's the soil type out here, is sandy loam, and they call it sugar sands. But everywhere you see sand was underwater last night, pretty significantly. So it was all, I mean, this grade that we're standing on is pretty consistent. It was all underwater. All right, we're working on the fence here. Right now I'm wearing sweatpants, but yesterday I was working on the fence and we'll try to get it finished up this week. We're trying to close in the pasture. This is going to be where we put the solar panels. And so we just want to fence it in. We've had quite a few people come to look at a property that's for sale over there, and they come down our property trying to find it. So we just want to put a fence up, and then also this would allow us to get some animals up here at some point. So just working on that. We're digging holes about 2-3 feet down, and I got these trees that we cut up down there. Just stick them in the holes, and then we're gonna take the first cuts from the milling, which is like the round part of a log, and we're just gonna stack them 4 feet high all the way down this. So,
What else are we going to put in the pasture?
we're also, yeah, that's right. We're putting our solar panels up here, and so putting the fence up just kind of keeps them fenced in. We've had quite a few people come down this road right here and then into our pasture and down by our house, which is that way behind me. So we're just putting the fence to keep people out once the panels are up. Okay. Just getting it done one thing at a time.
Yep, we We know Jehovah Jireh, that God will provide. He provided us with this land and everything that we need here to build not only our house, but just the lifestyle that we want for animals and for our children and for solar and for space. So, you know, we know that God has provided everything that we need, everything that we will need, even if that means just our bodies doing the work. We know things could be a lot easier, but we already have everything that we need. Jared's strong muscles. Good job, dear.
Mm-hmm. It would be great if we had a tractor. We've
Someday.
been looking, but
Someday we'll have the fancy tools, but for now it's just hard work.
alright, so I'm up here in the pasture taking down the fence that we built. It's about 250 feet that I put up. We put logs, I don't know if I explained this already. We put logs every 8 feet, and then we use the first cuts from the millings that we had done. The first cuts was like the round piece of the log when they mill your lumber. We use those as like cross braces. And then I used logs. I tried to find ones that were 6 inches around, 6 or bigger, and brought them up here. I chopped them into 7-ish, really more like 8-ish foot sections, loaded them up in the truck, brought them over here, brought all the first cuts over here in the truck. And then I dug holes 3 feet deep for all of the fence posts. There's, I don't know, 29 of them. And yeah, now I'm taking it all down. When we put up the fence, we didn't have like a survey done. You can get a survey done and they will put down stakes every, I don't know, 100 feet or something like that. Every 50 foot, 100 foot. I don't really know exactly because we haven't done it yet or before. You have to pay them to do it, and I think it was like $1,300 or something for us to do it. We just, I don't have the money to do that. Didn't want to spend the money on it. So when I did it, let me turn this camera around. I'll show you. So when I put the fence up, this over here is ours. All right, this is our pasture area, and there's a corner fence right here. That is somebody else's. And then this here where I'm standing is somebody else's. This piece of property is like the driveway down to theirs. And then over here where this tree line is, that's somebody else's property. And you can see they have a fence up there. So what I did was I measured from that fence across this driveway to this fence. And it was about 60-ish feet, 60 feet, I think. And so I went down there and I measured the same thing off of his fence. I went 60 feet, put a marker, pulled a string across, and I set my posts. Well, all this was good, but then a little after the gate, which is right there, it started to go over too far. Is about 6 inches over on this property side, and then by the time we got to the end, like another 50 feet, well, another 100 feet later-ish, I would say, it was almost a foot over on his side down there. So when we put this fence up, this property wasn't sold, nobody owned it. And I just tried my best. But I wanted to briefly talk about a fence. Not a fence, like being offended. just because I'm taking down this fence, and I've, told a few people about it, about what I'm doing, having to take it down, and also even myself, it's easy for me to be like, while I know that I'm in the wrong here because I put my fence up on the neighbor's property, I'm like, it's just a couple inches, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, it is what it is. You gotta do it. Like I said, I know that I'm in the wrong about it, but it's easy for me to, like, while I'm taking down this fence, I'm up here like doing the work, my mind is like running, wandering, filled with offense. Like, I'm offended that I have to do this. And, like, why is it's just a couple inches, why is this guy being such a pain in the butt or whatever? And what happens is, as my mind is wandering, spiraling is probably a better word, down this rabbit hole of being offended, I start to like set up these walls, is how I feel, where I'm like, my mind is going down the trail of offense, and then I start saying, "Oh, I'm never gonna help this guy with anything. I can't believe this. This is ridiculous." And if he ever asks me for help, I'm gonna say no. And and that's just not. That's not a good heart posture, and that's not myself. I feel, I want to have a good relationship with my neighbors. To me, that's more important than any fence. And like I said, I'm in the wrong. I know that I'm in the wrong, but I still am like spiraling down this trail of offense. And so there's all kinds of Bible verses about, not being offended. Proverbs 19 is one of them. There's some in Corinthians and Ephesians, and Bible verses about, being offended, Bible verses about not offending other people because of how that would be a reflection on the Lord if you are, identifying as a Christian and people know that, and you're identifying as a follower of Christ and you are offending people, that's not operating in love, and then that's not an example of who Jesus is. Natalie says I always ramble on when I make videos, and I end up with a half-hour video because I don't know when to stop talking. So that's all, folks.